Once in a blue moon.
少し印象変わったかも。それにクリスさんのこともすごく気にかけてるみたい。気に入られてるのかな。自分でそんな風に
Did I just skip my part?
クリスさんらしいね。
Well, well, that might be it. They say I'm the worst student. They say the worst students leave the best impressions. It's really characteristic of you to say stuff like that about yourself. Again, I'm not sure whether you're complimenting me or not.
一応褒め言葉だって。相手のことが好きじゃなければ、そんなことも言わないもの。
Fall said with a smile. Of course, I had interpreted the like just now as liking each other as friends. Well, thanks.
さて、今日はこれまでかな。
Do you have to work now?
うん。
I see. Do you have to continue until graduation?
卒業式が2月にあって、それ以降はもうあのアパートからも出るから、それまでかな。
So you won't have any days off until the graduation recital, huh?
さすがに当日は休むけどね。
She said, smiling wryly. Her smile then returned to normal. It was a smile void of fatigue or indecision. Let's do our best. It was all I could think of saying, and it was all I could really do. I made a slight pledge to work as hard as I could for her.
そうだね。
Fall nodded firmly, as though having gathered her determination. In the evening, I decided to go out for dinner. Naturally, this was the first place that popped into mind. It was almost time for Fall's shift to end. We hadn't agreed to meet or anything. I merely came on a whim, hoping that I might run into her. I was led to a table for two. After a while, a somewhat familiar face came to take my order.
ご注文はお決まりでしょうか。
I recognized the voice. Oh yes. I randomly ordered the first meal that met my eye on the menu. I considered inquiring about Fall, but decided against it as it seemed a bit brazen to do so. After that, I'd been focusing my attention on the kitchen, but never got to see Fall in the end. The meal was all as delicious as ever, though, so on the whole, I was satisfied. After one last peek inside the trattoria, I went on my way home. Well, that was semi-uneventful. Venerdì. I don't know. Does Italian pronounce V's as W's?
土曜日だけど、いつもの時間にいつもの練習室ね。
Got it. See you tomorrow. Practice with Fall continued when she was free from work. We would be at it throughout the day. I would head to the institute at 10 in the morning, eat her homemade lunch in the practice room, and play my Fortelle until sundown. Time seemed to elapse amazingly fast. Every time the day would come to an end in a flash. Even so, on days Fall had to work, I was left with nothing to do in the afternoons. I could have gone home right then and there, but I was abruptly addressed from behind. When I turned around, I saw Torda walking toward me from the direction of the main building. Oh, Torda, it's nothing really. Actually, I haven't decided yet. Good idea. Torda didn't talk to me for a while after that. I certainly didn't mind. I followed Torda's tracks to the secondary school building. I half expected Torda to take me to a practice room, but she proceeded briskly toward the cafeteria. Aren't you supposed to be practicing right about now? So you just came back from that? Nah, I just ate. Uh-oh, we're gonna get busted in the practice room actually. I decided to let Torta in on the recent happenings. It was a good opportunity to explain the situation with Fall to her. Torta wanted to get something to drink, so she ordered a cioccolata calda at the counter, and she was now happily sipping away. Sipping the tea. Exactly the way I said it, actually. I told Torta how I'd been eating Fall's lunches recently. It wasn't something to publicly declare, but it also wasn't anything to hide from her. Of course it is. Or so you'd think, but it wouldn't be a big deal. We've actually been spotted by an instructor once. We got off with a casual salutation. Fall said she was given silent approval ever since she pleaded to an instructor how she wanted to waste as little of her precious rehearsal time as possible. Apparently. In the short time I've spent with her, my impression of her has changed considerably. I mentally reaffirmed that it had only been about a month since we met. We'd been spending so much time together practicing and eating lately, it was starting to feel completely natural. Initially, it'd been to put some distance between myself and Torta. But that excuse was long behind me now. Well, yeah, we're partners after all. No? What? Oh, is she gonna just say the not curse, but, spell or whatever? Is like, whoever practices at graduation will fall in love. She seemed to exhale as a sigh as she smiled. She then brought the cup of cioccolata to her mouth again. I'm free. She's working today. Apparently, she's going to continue until graduation. She had asked me why, I wouldn't be able to answer her because I didn't know myself. But she didn't ask me anything after that. Not bad, I guess. Miss Cordell said something like that as well. Am I usually that self-depreciating? Well, I'm brimming with confidence. I just got a 5-star performance. I have a hard time imagining myself like that. That's not a very attractive characteristic. That sounds even less attractive for me. Torta shot back immediately. She apparently had seen through me completely. There were no hard feelings in our conversation though. It was just playful ribbing between friends who knew each other through and through. Then I was reminded of the other girl who wasn't here and held my tongue for a moment. A sweet aroma of chocolate along with all the too familiar sound of her chuckles. If I closed my eyes, it would be easy to replay some old memories in my mind. However, I decided to look straight ahead and continue the conversation. What about you, Torta? But wasn't there some kind of piano accompaniment? Yeah, that's how this solos and stuff go on with my orchestra. If you do a solo, you gotta have an accompaniment by piano. But if you like go duet, trio, quartet, quintet, or whatever, you don't need to. Pretty nice. I've never done a solo because I was like, I don't want an accompaniment. And besides, I haven't found very many viola solos that are that good that I can actually play because I'm not the best. So, rambling. Sounds pretty easy. Just kidding. I understand being on your own comes with its own hardships. You even said yourself you had it easy.
私は言っていいの。でもクリスは言っちゃダメ。
Fine, fine. I kind of missed these conversations with her. I made no attempt to restrain myself. Right at that moment, someone addressed me from behind. That was Asino? Why is he so quiet? I suppose we haven't seen each other a lot lately. Asino sat down next to me.
こんにちは。
こんにちは。
Are you having lunch, Asino?
なあ、ちょっと遅めだけどな。
He thrust his fork into his pasta. He continued while staring it uninterestedly.
今日の練習はもう終わりか？
Yep, she had to work.
それで昼からトルティニタとおしゃべりか。
Huh?
それがどうかしたの？
別に
Asino?
なんでもない。まだパートナーが決まってないんでね。ちょっとイライラしてるんだ。
You still haven't? Are you gonna be alright?
大丈夫だよ。俺にだって候補くらいはいる。
I know, but I was talking about practice.
誰がパートナーになっても俺は自分の作った曲を発表するから問題ない。
But that's not all there is to it, is it? In the first place, a partner is...
クリス？
Huh?
大丈夫よ。アーシノもそれは分かってるから。
そういうことだ。
Fine then. I had noticed a few times before that these two might not get along very well. Normally, Asino would rarely join in on a conversation between Torta and I. The opposite was also true. Whenever I was with Asino, Torta wouldn't come up to me unless she had something important to say. Furthermore, Asino would always call Torta by her full name, Tortanita. For all that, they would sometimes have detached exchanges that went beyond my understanding, like they did just now.
それじゃあ、私はそろそろ練習に戻るね。
Huh?
クリスが頑張ってるって聞いてね。もう少し私も練習しようかなって。
I see, but if you're tired, you shouldn't exert yourself.
そうね。クリスを見習ってそうする。
Good. Good.
じゃあね。
Torta left a casual salutation to Asino, then headed off in the direction of the practice rooms. On the other hand, Asino was still stoically eating his pasta. He hadn't been himself since his earlier outburst. Are you going to practice next?
候補のことね。
Oh, looks like you're handling this responsibility after all,
さっきもそう言っただろう。
he said in exasperation. Eventually his expression turned neutral.
邪魔して悪かったか？
Huh?
トルティニタのこと
Of course not. It's not like that at all.
嫌いなのか？
No way. I like her too.
ことも？
Just as I like you, that's what I meant.
でも、あっちはそうじゃないかもしれない。
That's what I was saying. She thinks the same. Tor and I are connected through Ari and nothing more.
そんなもんか？
That's how it is.
で、肝心のアリエッタとはうまくいってるのか？
What a strange thing to ask.
友人として心配してるんだよ。トルティニタとは違う。他の女とパートナーを組むことは向こうも思ってなかったんじゃないのか？
Most likely. In fact, she even wrote so in one of her letters, but
でも
she also wrote that I should do whatever I want to do.
諦められているのか？
She didn't. At least that's what I'd like to think.
弱気だな。3年も続いたんだろ？
Yeah?
ならもう少しじゃないか。
I know. I couldn't recall ever having this kind of a conversation about Ari with Asino. I didn't want to play up my relationship with her too much, so I'd always kept my answers short and never brought her up in a conversation myself. I couldn't imagine what had caused this interest to suddenly spark, but it was clearly on his mind right now.
まあいいや。仲良くやれよ。
I know, I repeated, still a little confused about Asino's sudden change of attitude. After that, we didn't talk much anymore. I had other things on my mind, and it seemed Asino did as well. He kept eating silently, never once averting